benefits to the community of keeping a neurological department in Dunedin ensured that people from every corner of this region got behind this initiative. About to present is the Neurological Foundation Southern Chair of Neurosurgery from Dunedin.
It is Brain Awareness Week and the people of Dunedin are certainly aware of it.
They've been coming across fundraisers collecting money for the neurosurgical unit the city's fought hard to save. Megan Martin talks with some of the people behind the campaign.
It's a long fundraising road ahead, but every cent helps. No one knows that more than Ted and Heather Turner.
It's very important that the chair of neurosurgery is in Dunedin. Do I make myself clear?
Crystal. The Turners campaigned hard with thousands of others to keep neurosurgery in Dunedin. And they won. Now 3 neurosurgeons will stay, and for one of those, $3 million has to be raised. That person, the chair in neurosurgery, will split their time between the hospital and a professorship at the university. Now, after pouring their hearts into the campaign, locals are pouring their money at it too.
When we first sent out the envelopes through the newspapers, we were getting 15, 20, 30,000 a day coming in.
More than $1.6 million in 7 weeks. And there's more to come. This home will be auctioned next month. Builders are donating their time.
People feel strongly about it, so yeah, we haven't had too much difficulty in attracting the extra labour and manpower to do the job.
Not just the big corporates that are getting involved.
Local papers joined forces to drive the campaign.
We saw a need to raise the public profile of what we thought was under threat, which we said all along wasn't just about neurosurgery, as important as that is, but the end game, if you like, is what it might mean to our health sector and, of course, the University of Otago.
There's more than $1 million to go.
We're just going to keep going. Because when the going gets tough, the tough keep going.
And get going we did. Imagine the anger, disappointment and apprehension that followed the announcement that South Island's entire neurosurgical service was to shrink into Christchurch. All of the south of the South Island would be served remotely. That is, after Dunedin Hospital, a tertiary hospital with an attached medical school, one of only 2 in the country, had supported a highly performing neurosurgical unit since World War II. People would undoubtedly die as a result of the response distances proposed. The South didn't just protest, though we certainly did that loud and long. We also argued cogently the lack of rationale of the decision that seemed set in bureaucratic concrete. Government's expert committee response only partly addressed the South's needs, retained Dunedin as a hub, sure, but with just 2 surgeons, not a sustainable model. The South needed a professorial position, a neurological chair, to anchor the service securely. The South rose again, this time to the funding challenge. In just 12 months, $3 million was raised. Street collections, 10,000 people on one occasion. Numerous and varied fundraising events all over the South, school mufti days, a spontaneous Facebook page set up by just 2 guys. National ANZ and SBS banks all took in donations. The University of Otago donated campaign costs. Normally competing newspapers cooperated in the effort. The effort throughout was steered, led, guided by a tiny nucleus, the chair of neurosurgery campaign. But this extraordinarily broad effort was almost entirely voluntary. Over to Dr. Brian McMahon, Chairman of the Fundraising Committee.
So there you have it, and to this end we set up the Southern Chair of Neurosurgery campaign. It was born, and the task was to raise $3 million to enable the endowment of the professorial chair in neurosurgery at the University of Otago Medical School. Our strategy was to mobilise all the resources that the community had to offer, and the tactics were designed to utilise volunteers to the maximum, employing only one full-time campaign manager, with campaign-associated costs being donated by the University of Otago. It was of prime importance for us to be able to say that every community dollar donation would be attributed to the Southern Chair Fund. When the official launch of the campaign was announced in the newspapers on 21 January of 2012, the campaign was able to announce that donations of more than $1 million had already been secured. The campaign enjoyed the unstinting support of the 2 southern newspapers. The Otago Daily Times and the Southland Times demonstrated week by week the power of the press, that together with the wider community, ranging from private business, family and individual trusts, service clubs, community groups, to individuals, took ownership of the project and drove it to a successful conclusion in less than 12 months. So now the professor, the senior lecturer and the consultant surgeon are now well established in Dunedin Hospital in the medical school and are integral to the South Island Neurosurgical Service. Personally, this rewarding voluntary experience in my up-to-date 60 years as a medical practitioner has been the most rewarding experience of those times. I believe I can now retire gracefully.
I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Well, I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Said I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Well, I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Said I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Well, I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. And if I share with you my story, would you share your dollar with me? Come on, share your dollar with me. Go ahead, share your dollar with me. Come on, share your dollar. Give me your dollar. Share your dollar with me. Come on, share your dollar with me.
We did it. Only good people step up to a challenge like this. Everything was so positive. There was no griping, no patch protection. Everyone wanted the same thing. I know that people were not always 100% sure just what a chair in neurosurgery was, but they knew we needed to save neurosurgery, and so they just got up and did it anyway. The faces of the people in the video show the passion and the fun. In over 20 years of volunteering in community projects, I've never seen a project work like this one, especially not in a city. Rural communities are used to having to work to retain services, but not somewhere like Dunedin. We acknowledge the help from all over the south in this project, but it was Dunedin City that drove it and raised the majority of the funds. Between us, Brian and I spoke at over 150 community groups. From each talk would come offers of support. It was like a stack of dominoes. We pushed the start button and it just grew and grew and grew. The sense of pride in what we achieved was enormous, and the benefits continue to flow. People have taken ownership. They feel like they're part of the service. The surgeons understand this and have adapted to their slight pop star status and have become involved in community activities too. They are a community investment. It's now 2 years since we launched, and there's still funds coming in. Our service is safe, not just ensuring the future of neurosurgery in the south, but ensuring the future of a medical school and a tertiary hospital. We needed a dollar, and because of thousands of volunteers giving time, goods and services and money, 3 million plus is what we got. Thank you, Trustpower, for giving us the opportunity to share our story.